Welcome back to the Football Terrace Top 6 show. We actually managed to find two Chelsea fans today that were willing to come on. Daniel, and Anita back with us again. We're joined by a victorious Liverpool fan in Callum. Neeks is back with me again. Me and Neeks is going to sit here and cook with no salt from us tonight. We're completely in the mud. And as I'm calling him now, Smokey Robertson is here. He's out there cooking everyone, giving everyone smoke. Igawa is back with us. How is everyone? Everyone good? Everyone good?
I'm Gucci, man.
Good.
Fantastic.
The day after Liverpool winning anything, can anyone really be good? Like, it's a sad day for the country, if we're going to be honest.
I think we should even have a minute silence for that atrocity we witnessed yesterday as well, man.
Oh, so you're blaming referees?
Hey, go, let it simmer, bro. You don't just put your hand in the pot while it's frying, bro. Let it
You
simmer.
jumped the gun, man. 2 minutes in, man came already, man.
Bro, and you know what's so funny?
Bro, it's my line, bro. You can't be stealing my content.
What's hilarious as well is that a guy will never mention what Ben White did, but he's ready to say the referees have an agenda against Arsenal. Allow it, man. Please.
Do you feel aggrieved, Dan, though? Like legit? Are you feeling like upset
Like,
with the ref?
like, you can't feel aggrieved because the players messed up. The finishing was just my days. I can't. I think. Do you know what makes it worse? You know when you're there and you see it with your own eyes, and like you celebrate. Like, do you know what's mad? Yeah, when you're at home, and you celebrate offside goals, it's not the same as when you're in the stadium and you celebrate offside goals. I'm telling you now, it's so different. I don't feel aggrieved, but it's just annoying that refereeing decisions played another part. Like, that was a good game for the neutral regardless, yeah. But I just wish there weren't two major decisions where, like, on another day, like Lukaku's offside, I think on another day interpretation wouldn't be offside. And then on another day, Naby Keita definitely gets sent off because that was a red card. That was terrible. But at the end of the day, I still think even 11v11, even without that poor refereeing decision in terms of the offside, I think we should have won that, man.
I think, Daniel, you're being a bit harsh to say it's a poor refereeing decision on the offside.
No, Naby Keita.
Okay, Naby Keita. Because the offside one for me.
Yeah. On
The
another
offside
day.
one for me, I need to fix her face, man. I don't know why, but the offside one for me, I've gone past disagreeing with offside decisions. If you get what I'm saying, when there's not an interpretation part. So like the Van Dijk one, which we saw with like Maguire and there was an Aston Villa case, there's an interpretation part where the referee has to go over to the monitor and he has to say, did that person impede? But when it comes to whether or not he was in front of the last defender, I've decided to trust the technology. And if the technology says it's offside, if we're going to say it's not, then we have to do away with the technology.
Wasn't there a new rule implemented though about increasing the gap of the?
No, okay. So I think the lines are thicker. They've made the lines thicker, which as opposed to last season. So it's more obvious that it's offside.
He was offside
because it's about where they start the offside from. I remember it's on the shirt sleeve. And if we're saying handball is this and handball's that, you have to say, you know what, this is where the shirt sleeve starts.
Wait, hold on, but you
have to accept it.
No, but you say that though, but then we then see a decision like Rodri, for example, which I believe if you look at where the ball hits Rodri and where they're saying Lukaku was offside, like, do you know what I mean? Like,
I know what you're saying. I think the Rodri decision was terrible. I think they got that wrong. So would you say that the line was drawn in the wrong place for Lukaku then? Because I think it was.
I just don't think he's offside. Like, I just don't know if that's offside. I don't know why. I just
and the thing is, obviously, I'm known for my Lukaku agenda, quote unquote. It's actually just Lukaku truth. But I was willing to lay down my small game Romelu baton and shield for the sake of Liverpool not winning. And even that small game Romelu couldn't do it. He is in the mud. He is in the mud. Even when I try and drag him out the mud, the man wants to remain there. So it's a bittersweet. He didn't score again, but I wanted him to score. But I'm right. But I lost. So
what I find really interesting about the refereeing decisions is like every fan base. Like, it was only 24 hours earlier. Liverpool fans were out in their masses. There's a conspiracy from the refs. There's a conspiracy from the rest to make Man City win the league. They hate us, they hate us, they hate us. And then they get the decisions they get in the game as an example. It's why, we know referees make bad decisions. And yesterday, I think with the Naby Keita one, actually, before I speak about Naby Keita, what are you saying, Cal, about Naby Keita? I need to get your opinion on this because, he gave him 6 stitches by his bollocks. Do you know what I mean? It's pretty bad, right? Should Keita, in your opinion, have been sent off?
100%, yes. I told you, you're not going to get any lives from me. 100% yes, should have been sent off. I said it live I wasn't filming last night. When it happened, I said, that's a red card. When he wasn't given a red card, I was like, well, we've got away with one there. Should have been a red card. I hold my hands up to it. Your side thing, Daniel, you're reaching there a little bit, but cool, I get it. That's a red card. There's not even a debate on argument.
That hurts just looking.
But hear me out. Hear me out.
No, Callum, wait. How is that not a red card? As in, that is not. He didn't even look at it. He didn't even get a word from the people watching it. He didn't. Oh my god, how is that not a red?
No, it's a definite red. Again, you're not going to hear any arguments from me on it. But to say that the referee was on our side, if you watch the whole 90 minutes of a football match, I think that is very fake information. One decision went in our favor and went against you guys. But if you watch the whole 90 minutes, you will see there were moments where we should have had decisions go our way that didn't, and same with you guys. So if you're going to blame the referee on all accounts.
What decisions went against Liverpool?
I personally think Kante should have been booked a lot earlier than he got booked, and then if he continued that, then he would have been sent off. So that's one thing. You could argue about Virgil's one being disallowed as well. There's an argument there to be had.
Okay, man.
I've already given you what you've given. I'm just telling you where I stand. But right now, I've got to be real with you. I'm bloody happy. I'm happy. What more do you want from me? I celebrated last night. I'm happy, man. What do you want me to come in here and be sober?
Enjoy it. Don't let them.
I came on here at the beginning of the season. I was told my team's finished. I was told my team's done. I was told we're declining. VVD ain't gonna be the same. VBD said hi, by the way, Anita. I told he weren't going to be the same. I was told Liverpool were in the mud. I was told we weren't finishing in the top 4, and we're here now.
Mickey Mouse, you lot are stat padding your trophy count with League Cups. 9.
There is nothing you can say to me that's going to bring me
rid of it, man.
Ain't nothing. I'm here for vibes. Hey, Gal, tell him what we're here for today. Vibes, innit, bro?
We're kicking back.
Come on now.
Hey, Gal, have some shame. Have some shame.
Bro, I was gonna say,
have some shame. Have some shame. And you as well, Callum, have some shame. Relying on a Gal for vibes. Have some shame.
Listen.
Ask
Yo, one second. Don't let these guys count trophies and say, "Oh, you guys have 9 League Cups." They count their 22 community shields. Stop
21.
21. Oh my god.
I was counting.
Oh my god.
So do when it comes to the total count, that's why Cal didn't say anything, because so do Liverpool. That 66 versus 66 includes community shields.
Yeah.
We all do it, bruv.
There is no trophy I look down my nose on. I don't know when COVID came in that we start looking our noses down the trophy.
Do you know what it is, bruv? So social media has made it worse, because what I've seen over the last 9 to 10 years since doing this is we've always known, just keep it in England, we've always known in order of weakest to strongest: Community Shield, League Cup, FA Cup, Champions League, Premier League. That's always been my kind of view on it. Some people switch the Premier League and Champions League around the other way, but they're the biggest two. But what's kind of happened is this way of bantering everybody. When your team gets knocked out of the League Cup, it doesn't matter anyway. The FA Cups, for years, the FA Cup still mattered. And then the last sort of 5, 6, 7 years, the FA Cups had the same treatment. It's a coping mechanism from fans when your team ain't winning anything. That's all it's come down to. It's a coping mechanism.
I agree, Terry. However,
to a degree, I've even seen people, when you turn around and say things like Klopp to have like a dynasty legacy, like a Wenger, like a Fergie in the Prem, he needs to add more trophies to his cabinet. I've heard Liverpool fans say, no, it's just about Prems and Champions Leagues. I've seen it happen right across the spectrum.
And I have arguments with those.
And I'm glad you've admitted they exist. Liverpool fans told me I made that up this morning. I'm like, no, I've seen lots of...
So you're counting community shields now? can
Well,
be.
let me respond to that.
Every trophy I count, unless it's one of like the Audi Cup or something like that. I count it, bro.
Let me respond to that, Igal, because when it comes to the Community Shield, which let's make it a fancy name because we call it Community Shield, Charity Shield. It's the English Super Cup. It's the English Super Cup. No, because in Spain they got the Spanish Super Cup. Then you got the Italian Super Cup. You got the German. I can't remember what they call that one now. There's the Polka. I can't remember now.
The Pokal Cup.
Something like that. Their Super Cup. The European Super Cup, as in the UEFA Super Cup. Ours is called a Charity Shield, Community Shield, and it becomes, it's not a trophy anymore. But when Pep wins 6 in a year, it's like Pep won 6 in a year. And you're counting all the Super Cups involved in it. So we just have to be consistent. If you're not going to count Super Cups, i.e. one-off competitions, then don't count any of them. But if you are going to count them all. I want to ask Callum, though, are you counting the Sheriff of London Charity Shield, won in 1906, and the Football League Super Cup, won in 1986?
Am I counting it?
You're counting it, yeah.
Did it happen?
So you guys are.
I wasn't there. I don't know.
Look. Wikipedia can be. My surname's Sanderson, but for this show, you can call me Callum Shameless because if it's a trophy, I'm counting it, innit?
Okay, so you're counting everything. That means Manchester United. That means Manchester United and Liverpool both have 66 trophies. If you're counting every single trophy, and in this situation, when you guys are comparing Arsenal to Chelsea, Arsenal have 48 and Chelsea have 34. So the margin is
So you count everything, but this is what it comes down to, and this is about human beings engaging their brains. Does not sound horrible and blunt. Let's take it away from all our clubs. Hypothetical. If I've got 20 trophies, Igal, and you've got 20 trophies, but I have 5 Champions Leagues, 10 leagues, and 5 FA Cups, that's worth more than like 10 League Cups and 10 FA Cups. So that's the point. So it isn't just the total amount, it's the weight as well when you put them together. So I think those are the things that you look at when you look at those kind of trophy hauls. And I think that
you just confirmed that Liverpool is a bigger club than Manchester United. Wow.
But did I say big?
Well, he didn't.
We're not.
I mean,
we're not. Gal, we're not.
No, that's basically what he just did.
No, he didn't because he said the weighting.
That's basically what he just
did. And if you want to do the weighting, we're doing the weighting. It's 2019 in leagues. It's 6-3 in Champion or European Cups, but then it's 12-7 in FA Cups, and then it's 9-5 in League Cups. FA Cup has always been a bigger trophy. So where do you want to put the weight?
No, but then
wait. And then when you're talking about and then when you talk about biggest clubs, when you talk about biggest clubs,
Callum, he just literally
no, but Igal, I think you're wrong as well because we are statistically more successful than them in terms of having more major competitions. But they're a bigger club. They are like.
And again, I was about to respond to you. Gal, I'm very easy with saying what I was saying without walking into a trap. I've been asked a question: who's more successful or who's the bigger club? Man United are the bigger club by turnover, by fan base, by TV views. It's not even a debate. Biggest and most successful, and currently who's better are 3 different. Again, let's engage our brains. They're 3 different conversations, and they always have been. I don't understand
who's been more successful historically. That's basically what you confirm.
In what? Okay, so who's been more overall? It's the same, isn't it? 66 and 66.
No, based on weight of trophy.
Okay, based on weight. So I would look at it and say Liverpool, those 6 Champions Leagues versus Man United's 3.
Honest fan.
I would say, but you again, can you apologize saying you got me then? Because you didn't get shit.
No. You basically said it yourself. So good job.
This is already going to be my favorite show. I'm loving it.
It's weird.
You've been honest today. I love it.
As I say, but I'm always going to be honest. I'm always honest about things on the table. They have been successful, and what's done it for Liverpool has been this period under Klopp as
Heiser,
for me has pushed that weight.
Do you disagree with him? Liverpool have been more successful.
Gal, stop bandwagoning.
Bro,
no, I'm not even on to you, Chelsea fans.
Let me just say to you, Gal, when you're old, when you're like 80 years old, maybe you'll have got anywhere near us 2 clubs. You know what I mean? Then you can chat. So, you know what I mean? It's one of them ones, my G. Yeah. So, you know what I mean? And that's one of the reasons why I look at the Arsenal-Chelsea thing. This is why I'm being consistent, and I'm not going to throw myself under a bus. Because I think Chelsea are in and around coming up your rear end because they've got 2 Champions Leagues to and 2 Europa Leagues to your 0 success in Europe.
And that's true. That's 100% true.
You're way ahead of them in terms of league titles. But if you add their European trophies and their domestic trophies together, you're almost on par. So that's why when I look at the fact that you're on 40 something and they're on 30 something, I think there's a way up.
Okay, you lost me there. Are we being accurate here when we look at that? Because you take their league titles and their Champions Leagues together, there's nowhere near.
How many league titles you got?
13.
Okay, so if you take 2 Champions Leagues and 2 Europa Leagues, how much is that?
4.
And how many league titles they got in total?
5.
So you're talking there 9 versus is 13. It's not too big a differential, bro.
It's still a gap. Mind the gap.
I didn't say there wasn't a gap. I didn't say
He's gonna come in.
Talking about the
but it's still a gap. So the Europa League is the same as the Premier League now. I love it.
So European pedigree. What we're saying is European pedigree holds weight. That's what we've been saying. European pedigree holds weight. Hence why
six titles, by the way, in the year.
Hence why.
Okay. I love this. I love this topic, but let's keep it real. When things are equal, you can shake and you talk about the weight. But when they're not equal and there's a big gap, you can talk about the weight.
No,
are you actually insane?
you talk about the weight regardless. You're gonna talk about the weight.
Let's be real.
How can you have zero? No, hold on. How can you have 0 euros?
I can't lose in this show. Like, I can't lose in this show.
How many FA Cups you got, Callum?
Bro, I don't even care. Look, I'm on this side. I'm on this side of the Man United because we equal amount of trophies. And I'm on this side because we won the Carabao Cup. I'm winning.
No, I know I'm right. There's nothing you can say that proves me wrong.
You know you're right in your own little world, innit? We're trying to have a conversation with you, but you're not trying to have it. Let's talk about it. We're talking about weight, and if you don't understand weight, that's fine. Don't know what you studied at uni, but the point is, when you talk about things being directly proportionate to each other and how things stack up when you put them together, us having 4 European titles weighs way more than your how many European titles? Remind me.
1. One Cup Winners' Cup.
We have
5 then. Cool.
But I'm not counting that. But I'm not counting the Cup Winners' Cup.
Why?
Why? Listen.
That trophy was massive in its day.
No. Listen to what I have to say. When you were talking about this discussion, and you brought your Europa Leagues and league titles to the table, and I only brought just my league titles alone, I still have more than you. So based on that, we have more success. We've been a more successful club historically throughout our time. Right now, you are a better club. We are bigger and more historically.
Let me go back to my point. Though. Let me go back to my point. Let me go back to my point. Let's go back to what I actually said. I said Chelsea are coming up behind you.
Yes, but they are saying they're already there.
No, we're not.
No, you argue.
Daniel is speaking for Chelsea fans. You are speaking for yourself.
I'm speaking for myself.
I'm speaking for Chelsea. I'm speaking for myself. Daniel's speaking for himself. Like, we're all speaking for ourselves.
But Daniel, your hand up. Is Chelsea bigger than Arsenal?
We're bigger and better than Arsenal.
There you go. Deluded.
All right.
I don't think that's
says the guy that I am right and doesn't want to have a conversation, and I'm deluded.
No, you're just saying we're bigger based on subjectivity and emotion.
Look up the definition of deluded.
I don't think we're bigger than you guys. I put my own opinion there. I don't think we're bigger than you guys based on what Terry's defined as being big, as in like your fans, your turnover, all of that. Like when it comes to like London, you guys, you take the pie, like you're up there in terms of like biggest with. In fact, no, you're not. I was going to say Man United, but you're not.
Relax.
Well, yeah, let me relax there. But I think like Arsenal, like worldwide, you guys are massive. Like you have a strong support system, right? But when we talk about what Terry's just spoken about in terms of the weight of each trophy and the weight that each trophy holds, we have 6 European trophies, right? You guys have 1. So when you put the weight on that and you add it to our Premier Leagues, you add it to our FA Cups, our Carabao Cups or League Cups, whatever, and our charity shows, etc., the conversation is not that big of a gap until you guys can win another
conversation.
Yeah, it's worth a conversation just because of the weight it holds. Not that we have the same amount of trophies, it's the weight.
And I just got a message from someone who's like, he's a United fan, he's messaged me saying, I can't believe you said that. I said, that's my thoughts. And then he put a good point in my head, and I'm not going to change my stance without thinking about it deeply, but he's essentially, but you look at United's achievements in terms of the first team to do the second team to do the double, but the first team to do the double, the team to do the treble, the team that's done 3 to do 2-3 peats in the Premier League. So when you get to the nitpicky stage of things, I do think they hold some water in these conversations as well. And look, Liverpool in their club's history have also had like back-to-back title-winning seasons. I swear you've won a Champions League and Premier League in the same year. Where we stopped you doing the treble actually by beating you in the FA Cup final back in the 80s.
Tell them, Terry, because people seem to think that the football only started back in the early 90s.
And I think all these things weigh apart, you know, in terms of that go into these conversations and everything else. But I mean, I've just been told by a Liverpool fan the Cup Winners' Cup was never big.
Bigger than UEFA Cup.
It was bigger than UEFA Cup back in the day in terms of the sort of standing that it had. But there we go. We've got some super chats here. This actually, we'll come back to that comment in a second. Kepa took out Putin's satellite with that penalty, is what Dwayne says there. We don't endorse any messages to do with that on the terrace. Just, you know, I hope everyone's safe. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. Guys, leave banter aside. Big up to Klopp and Tuchel for giving us one of the best 0-0 finals. They were like two lions going at each other. Penalty could have gone any way. I have to say, it was a fantastic game of football. It was fantastic, especially for a neutral. We didn't even have the sound on. We're doing a watch along, but we loved it. It was great. It was very, very good indeed. Terry, the problem is every fan base is selfish. They're happy when they get decisions and cry when they don't. Selfish people deserve these inconsistent refs. I didn't make my point earlier, but I stand by it. What I've been calling for years, and not that it matters what I call for. I don't like this notion of refereeing occasions rather than refereeing by the letter of the law. Jens Lehmann was absolutely correct to be sent off in the Champions League final. Facts. Naby Keita should have been sent off yesterday. You should, if you ref like Mane getting away with a red card in the opening 30 seconds of a game is nonsense. You should just be booked when you should be booked, sent off when you should be sent off. And if they referee games like that consistently, you'd actually stop more bad tackles. You'd actually stop more cynical fouls because people would never get away. How many times in the opening 10 minutes of a game of our teams conceded a counter-attack and we've dragged the player down, you don't get a yellow. 5 minutes later, the opponents do it and they're booked and the crowd gets up, the players get annoyed. It's always got on my nerves. Maybe that's just me. Ollie once said the Carabao Cup is bigger than the Champions League for United. Yeah, I think, listen, I think contextually he meant in terms of getting back to winning ways. But yeah, let's dig out, Ollie. Afternoon, Terry and everyone. If Klopp wins
Ollie won it all.
Season, will he be an Arsene Wenger? Sorry, will be then Arsene Wenger? He would have won 2 league titles and 2 champions.
Bigger than Arsene Wenger.
He's already bigger than Arsene Wenger. He's won back-to-back league titles in his career in the Champions League. He's already a greater manager than Wenger.
All right,
my definition.
Yeah, what about Terry? What I would say.
So you're saying Klopp is already bigger than Arsene Wenger?
Terry said it, not me. Terry said it, not me.
Look at it go. Look at it go. Look at it go. Look at it go.
What I would say, as it stands now, of course, Klopp has time on his side. Arsene Wenger's legacy is more than just what he's won. That's the thing. In terms of the way
I think he meant that was Pep. Are you sure you're not mistaking this with Pep?
What, Pep better than Arsene Wenger?
Gal, you pick fight with Chelsea. Don't do it with Liverpool.
Let me just give you my reasoning for Jurgen Klopp. Again, this is me being unbiased and consistent. I've always had this definition since before Klopp joined the Prem. A great manager, in my eyes, has to win back-to-back league titles in the Champions League before I even consider them great, let alone legendary or goated. That's my definition. I stand by it. So you can hold that against every new Man United manager to now when I die. This whole legacy thing about diets and training regimes, Wenger's got that, no doubt. When you're telling me when Klopp gets a bit older or he retires, all these stories about Klopp ain't going to come out about things that he did that were innovative and different. And if you actually go and read, just viewers, if you care to take the time, go and read about any one of the great managers who's won multiple trophies and the stories you read about how they innovated X, Y, and Z. It's very commonplace. Wenger isn't isolated and special for bringing in the diet thing. Fergie, before Wenger, stopped the drinking culture in England. If Fergie hadn't stopped the drinking culture, there'd have been no way of introducing good diet.
So if Klopp is bigger than Wenger, then why are we even having this Klopp and Tuchel conversation?
I said again. So first of all, I said achieve more. I didn't say the word bigger, and I think he has by doing the back-to-back league titles and a Champions League.
How does he achieve more if he hasn't achieved the same more trophies totality?
Because I think, like I just said, for me, I have a definition. I said that the back. How many league titles did Wenger win? Like in a major league?
3. No, he won Monaco and he won.
I said major league.
Major.
The French league's a major league. Am I
No,
wrong?
It's not.
Okay,
It's
so
not.
what are the 5 leagues?
4. Bundesliga, La Liga.
Gary, since
Serie
when you
A.
created this yourself? There's
It's
5
always
leagues.
been
now.
like this.
Never been the big
No,
5.
sorry,
Never.
it's always been 5. It's always
No,
been
Gary,
5.
it's
it's
been
always been
5.
5. You just don't have League One
always
in
been
your
5.
thing.
Is
innit?
it been 5?
All right,
It's
all right.
five.
Even Monaco. Then. How many?
Yeah,
How many
but
did you get in
wait.
Monaco?
Wait, so Igal, who's bigger? Who's bigger, Mourinho or Wenger?
Mourinho.
But why though?
Because
He
of his
hasn't-
overall achievements throughout his whole career.
Yeah.
But
No, but
when
we're
we
talking-
talk about Mourinho and Wenger, we only talk about Premier League. Then you can have a conversation.
I don't even think there's a
Wenger's won 4, and Klopp has won 3,
And a Champions League.
and
And a
Champions
Champions
League.
League. So I again, domestic trophies, Wenger will
my
definitely
God.
outdo him on that, no doubt. But I just look at the fact again, and look, if everyone wants to say the big 5 leagues, I'll stand corrected. Like I'm not overly fussed by that. It's more the case of winning. It's back-to-back league titles as well. I don't think people understand and appreciate how hard an achievement that is in football, especially when you're in one of the big boy leagues as well. To do it back to back when you're not in a league that's got a monopoly either. Like that's one thing about the Prem you don't have. There isn't a monopoly, and to do what and Bundesliga, it was even harder. And you yourself, when you spoke about Klopp being better than Tuchel, you spoke about how Gal yesterday. You spoke about how what Klopp did by winning back-to-back league titles against in a monopoly league where you've got Bayern Munich. To do that is astronomical. It's astronomical.
Okay, so based on that, Terry, would you then compare Sir Alex Ferguson and Pep now?
In what way?
Based on the amount of times he's done back to back in Barcelona, in Bayern Munich, at Manchester City, the fact that he's won Champions Leagues at Barcelona, and not only that, he won 2 he won 2 Champions League, 18 what was it? 8 and 9 season, 10, 11 season, and I think one of them he even beat Sir Alex Ferguson.
Pep Guardiola
do this.
But
Your
Pep
goal is then in the mud.
No, he's not in the mud.
Oh,
But
God,
hang on a minute. Let me respond. Pep Guardiola is most certainly in the conversation by the time he retires to go down as maybe the greatest manager ever. That's not a contentious thing to say.
Yeah.
I don't get your point.
No, because you basically said, based on what Klopp's achieved, he's greater than Arsene Wenger. So based on what Pep has achieved, you can argue and say he's greater than Sir Alex Ferguson.
One second. People do argue it. However, he hasn't achieved more than Sir Alex Ferguson. So the argument doesn't stand.
What do you mean he hasn't achieved more than Sir Alex Ferguson?
Sorry, excuse me?
What do you mean by that?
Well, Fergie's won. Well, they've won the same amount of Champions Leagues.
Okay.
And Fergie's won much more league titles. Of course, he's been around longer, but he's won more league titles. And
so we're counting Scottish League now. I love it.
Oh, so again, the Scottish League in the 80s was fire.
Wait. Let's
can't have it both ways.
You can't forget.
You can't have it both ways. You just dismissed the French League.
Okay, let's dismiss the Scottish League for a second, just to help your argument. He won the Cup Winners' Cup with a Scottish team. So we took whoa. So we took a minnow from a minnow league and beat Real Madrid to the Cup Winners' Cup. Then he took Manchester United, who hadn't won a league title in 26 years, beat Barcelona in the Cup Winners' Cup, and then won 13 Premier League titles. So, I mean, just on the weight of achievement for the minnow club that he's taken over, he's done more than Pep Guardiola.
And this is the point,
if
right?
you want to say that
again, this is the point. Like the Scottish League, I would never put it in the top 5 leagues or top 4 league thing, but it was still a strong league when he did it because they were able to compete. You actually look at the Scottish national team back in those days with the Dalglish era, it was very, very good. But the one thing that Pep doesn't have flies in the face of the argument that you used yesterday on the show as to why Klopp's above Tuchel is because Fergie took over a minnow in Aberdeen and broke the Celtic Rangers dominance and won back-to-back league titles, won their national trophy and won the European Cup. The same thing that you yesterday elevated Klopp for. He then took over a broken giant in Man United and rebuilt them from the ground up and gave them the most successful 25 years that any club in England has ever had. Those are those extra achievements that include winning trophies that Pep hasn't done. By your own definition yesterday, Pep's just taken over teams that are at the peak of their powers and the most powerful in their country and essentially just buy their way through things. He hasn't had to build anything himself. So your own argument doesn't stand up from yesterday when you said there's no way. That's all I'm confused about. I thought
you know what this is, Terry. You know what this is. You know what this is. This has talking you into your own argument and beating you before you even get to it. You were going to bring up Klopp and Tuchel. We've already proven how Klopp is here and Tuchel is there. And everything that we've done up to this point just proves that. So when we get to the Thomas Tuchel and Klopp conversation, we've already done the groundwork and we know where everyone's standards are. So when you say stuff about Klopp and Tuchel that contradicts your standards about your own team and your own manager, then
you haven't over Tuchel, though.
But I haven't though. But I haven't picked Tuchel over Klopp. So what are you talking about?
No, but you questioned me about it yesterday.
No, I asked you. So again, me asking a question isn't a statement from me. Me saying to you, Igal, you think Klopp's better. I said to you, what does Tuchel need to achieve for you to think he's better than Klopp? That isn't me challenging your opinion. It's asking a question, Igal.
Okay, I hear that. And once again, the reason why I asked the Fergie question is to know your criteria. So when we're talking about further discussions, I understand where your criteria lie.
Cool. I mean, you're acting like I changed my criteria. I've been saying the same thing for years. You've been on it.
But when you challenge me, I want to know where you're coming from. That's it.
Cool. Quadruple. Are you winning the quadruple, Cal?
Boy, Terry. Where did I started this one? Not impossible. Things would have to go in our favor to do it.
Like ref decisions.
As I said, things would have to go in our favor for it to happen. Unlikely, but I'm believing. Until we get knocked out one of these competitions, I'm believing. Like, why not? That's what I'm here for.
So you're gonna do it.
Daniel, you seem really salty over there, bro.
I just said, I just asked the question.
I said in my mind, I think.
We just want to yes or no.
I think 3 of them is going to happen. The 4th one, I don't know.
My back.
I do. And I know this is going to get clipped up. I know how this game goes now. But I believe in my team. I believe in my club.
If you win 3 more games this season,
I've been banned by my partners for clipping people now. Because we keep getting accusations of bullying, so we've been told to stop. Have I fuck? I'm you all up.
Now look, I'm going to be real. It's going to be the hardest achievement anyone's ever seen in the league. But look, if we're still in these competitions, what am I meant to come on there and say, no, we definitely ain't doing it?
If you man win the quadruple, yeah, I'll come on the show in a Steven Gerrard top.
Deal. Hold on, let me ask you guys a question.
If you don't what? There needs to be a
there doesn't need to be anything from my side.
Legit. Come on, I was dropping down a wager and you don't even want to back yourself.
Hold on, let me ask you a question. If you guys were still in all 4 competitions, would you be sitting there saying you can't do the quad?
Yes, categorically and unequivocally.
Fair enough. We're built different then, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
At the start of the season, Cal, were you saying you're going to do the quadruple?
At the start of the season, a lot of things were said, Anita.
Were you saying that, though?
No, I wasn't. But things changed. Leicester at the beginning of their season, no one said they would win it. Halfway through, we had to change our tune.
All right, no problem.
Sometimes
that's why we call you Liverpool. That's why we call you Liverpool.
Sometimes when we're driving, guys, we hit traffic and we got to take a little diversion. We still get to the destination.
I don't want to hear no diversions, but we bring you back on here. You're out of the FA Cup, you're out of the Champions League. I don't want to hear no diversions.
Guys, before the pandemic, they were going to do the invincible treble. Remember the invincible?
Yeah, exactly.
And listen, I'll be honest with you. Liverpool are looking dangerous, and all their attackers. Diaz looks a good signing. Van Dijk is turning head. He's turning heads, and he's
I said he was finished,
and he's killing
it. Ain't finished with nothing.
Past Liverpool doing it. I'm not saying they will do it because doing a treble is hard, doing a quad. But if Liverpool complete football first, and with not just with my club not involved, like we're just non-existent right now.
Block me.
Bruv,
Can I just say,
block me on everything. Restraining orders, ASBOs, take it all out. I'm reckless with it.
Liverpool fans who have been, and listen, I'm going to call out your boy Drifty because I watch copies from time to time.
We know you, especially when we lose. We know.
Yes, I've been watching recently.
You'll just pop up in the comments. I'm just thinking, neat.
All I hear is, we can't match Man City. We can't compete. That's the narrative I've heard time and time again. Of course, that narrative helps boost up Klopp. When he does compete, it's like he's doing it with the bare bones, the dregs of society, which we know it's not. But if that's the case, and Man City couldn't do the quad with their team, then you have no right to even consider it, despite you being in 4 competitions, because Man City were also in 4 competitions and they didn't do the quad. So which one is it? It's either you can compete and there's no excuses, or you can't compete and League Cup is the only thing you're winning this season. Like, you can't have it both ways.
It's gonna be an interesting one. I think. Look, of course they can do it. The likelihood is low. But if they do it, there's going to be big pain. We have a super chat here that says, "Do Arsene Wenger's trophies in Japan count?"
Yes.
Someone also messaged a minute ago saying, "Terry, what's your issue with teams outside the top 4 leagues?" Listen, I listen. Even what Fergie did in Aberdeen, brilliant. But I don't. It's not winning a league for Aberdeen doesn't mean as much for me as winning La Liga, the Premier League, or the whatever the Championship used to be called then, Division 1 it used to be called. Like, I don't think it weighs as much, in my opinion. Some people disagree. That's just it, but it's still an achievement. But that's just me. Some more super chats here. Asky Gal if you'd rather have £10 of gold versus 10 pounds of 20 pounds of brass. It's a question for you.
Weight of trophy matters.
I would rather.
That's a good analogy.
I like that, my brother. Terry, a question. How is Klopp clear of Tuchel if Tuchel has 1 win and 2 draws and a loss in pens in all their games? So that's a great point. So again,
tag me.
In you go. Tag team, we'll do it. In you go. I can't believe I'm fighting. I'm partnering with Liverpool. Go on, Cal.
How many times have they played each other totally?
4. Oh, you're talking about career.
Overall.
Oh, yeah, that's what we're doing. You can't compare. You can't say one manager is better than another based on one season, surely. It's got to be their careers, right?
I think what they were doing is Premier League, innit? I don't think they were
I'll be honest with you, though, but
the other stuff. Oh, I forgot.
What I was going to say, the thing is, look, I know head-to-heads matter, but
Dortmund versus Mainz. Come on, man.
No. Leave this Agbayas. Let them.
I could have swore we beat them in the Europa with Liverpool and Dortmund.
Do you know what? Cal?
We did. My bad.
Have your fun, darling.
Wait, was that Klopp against Tuchel when they and Lovren scored?
You remember that?
Tuchel in the mud, man. Tuchel in the mud.
No, the first game was a draw.
I think I'm in trouble. Can you repeat that again?
No, 1-1 in
PSG won.
The yellow ball saw them 1-1.
There was a PSG versus Liverpool 2-1. I'm so sure.
Oh no, we beat them that season as well, 3-2 at home. Bobby Firmino gave that.
Yeah, that's what I said. Like,
it was this guy.
Why you got that?
I'm on fire tonight.
Yeah, show it again.
Hey, gal, stop cheerleading.
Nah, if I speak, I'm in trouble. They got it.
Look at this boy. Cheerleading.
Do you know what? Do you know as well about the head-to-head thing is this, right? You have to go on everything because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's got a brilliant head-to-head record with Pep, you know. Like you have to look at the trophies and what they've won. It's all together here. But yeah, Finn. Like,
Daniel, he's better.
Let me say this about
Tuchel. He's better. Pep or Oli, Daniel. He's better. Let me couple a couple of Chelsea fans. What we say?
Like, Cal is undefeated today. I can't
lose.
Killing it. I hope you lose on Wednesday in the FA Cup, though. I tell you, Pep won 9 league titles. Fergie has won 13. No, Fergie's got 15. But there we go.
16.
If Tuchel had left Mendy on and we lost, guess what people would say? They'd be saying like Kepa should have come on if he didn't come on. Was it the right decision? Are you all happy with that decision that he made?
I feel like there's a lot of revisionism going on within a lot of people in the fan base and outside the fan base too. Like the majority of Chelsea fans can say that they expected Kepa to come on. I'm really getting a lot of feedback. Is it just me?
Yeah,
there's an echo. Oh, okay, yeah, that's fine now. But there's a lot of revisionism going on. And before the match even started, like when I was presenting, I said, if it goes to penalties, Kepa is going to be the person to come on. Like it was a prediction that everyone should have known, and it shouldn't have been a surprise to people. I don't know why people were acting surprised. It was not a surprise at all. So yeah, it was exactly the right decision for me. Yeah,
I don't think it's a right or wrong decision. I just think it's a decision.
Agbaya means that you guys are oldies, man. You're spoiled old people. That's what you guys are. Spoiled old people.
I'm sure Anita must be catching up with us on age. I'm sure she is.
I don't like the old. Now that I've got hair again, I refute the old thing. Like,
get out of here.
26 now again with my hairline. It's all good. It's all good.
So what's me?
Full head of hair, full beard, full. I'm young.
I want to hear what Daniel has to say.
All right, Uncle.
Was it the right decision, Daniel?
Uncle, you know.
About what?
On Kepa.
When Kepa came on, picked the ball out the net 11 times and then missed. Not my backup goalkeeper. Not my backup goalkeeper. Go to Daniel. Go to. The floor's yours, big man.
No, it was. Anita spoke perfectly. Like, totally agree. Revisionism. You could say, yeah, if we had Mendy on because he's a bigger goalkeeper, if he went the right way once. But nah, man, Kepa has won multiple penalty shootouts for Chelsea. Like, literally, he's won them. So
in that competition alone, he's won 2 already.
Yeah, and it was smart as well because I feel like Liverpool, bro, their penalties, quality penalties. But I feel like prior to him coming on, that's kind of like a psychological play as well. They're switching the keeper. You know, he's a good penalty shot stopper. So yeah, man. But nah, man.
It was very.
You know when we
guys.
You know your face here when you saw Kepa's pen, yeah? Because I watched the story when I got home. It was literally everyone's face was the same. We opened our mouth.
It's crazy. Like,
can I just say one thing, Terry?
Yeah, go on, mate. Go on.
We already know Mendy was, in my opinion, man of the match for Chelsea. Him or Thiago. So Thiago, it was between them. But personally, he did so well in AFCON in that penalty shootout. And I'm just like, you know what? He just had a penalty shootout. You could have put him in there, even though it's the right decision to bring in Kepa, and everyone was gassed that Kepa was coming in. I just think he's having such a great game. His confidence would be high going into that penalty shootout.
Mendy is, like, I wouldn't say he's world class yet, but he's on his way to being one of the best keepers we've seen Premier League wise. I wouldn't call him world class yet, but he's on his way, and he's been quality. He's winning trophies. However, if there was a flaw in his game as a keeper, he is a terrible penalty. Like, ask any Chelsea fan. He even, like, remember the Aguero chip? Like, we literally said the reason why he saved that is because he didn't dive, and because he never dives for the penalty, and he was lucky in that situation. So,
you know the thing with it. I said I don't think there's a wrong or right decision. It's a decision the manager has to make. If Liverpool had lost, would Liverpool fans have said? And let's say Kelleher made a mistake. Would Liverpool fans have said, "Oh, that's why you have to start your best goalkeeper in a final"? Like, Tuchel brought in. I'm not saying whether they would or not, but somebody out there would. Listen, we would have seen a headline, a clickbait on the Football Terrace saying Klopp cost Liverpool with sub-keeper error, like whatever. But Tuchel took out Kepa and brought in Mendy, which was already a big decision because Kepa was the keeper for the cup competition. So if he then decides to take out Mendy for Kepa for the shootout, as I say, you have to just let the manager make their decision.
1 second.
When you just you didn't win it in the end. It is what it is.
You said something important that went over everybody's head. Mendy's not world class.
He's almost. I think in the last 2 years,
I'll call him world class.
In the last 2 years, I think by the end of the season. So in the last 2 years, he's maintained his standards. I think he's been in the conversation with Alisson. I don't have Edison there. I actually don't have Edison there, but by the end of the season, he'll be there.
There's a job at the minute that's going on, and I don't know what they're called, but they sit there and they listen to every single podcast of Joe Rogan's trying to get him cancelled. You should go and do that job, bro. You have this amazing ear for like picking at, and this is a compliment, like picking at these little peccadillos of things that people say. Do you know what I think is interesting about the Kepa thing? Like, I think the revisionism is crazy. Like, the other week when Man United made a sub and brought on Fred, and he scored, and the commentator was like, "What a great substitution by Rangnick," and then they interview him about it and go, "What a great substitution, Ralph." Ralph just was like, "Yeah, I didn't bring him on to score. I brought him on to do some different things, but he ended up scoring." Fans, I think we often over-egg the substitutions, and of course he brought on the better penalty taker, but we see that in reverse all the time. How often do you see the better penalty takers brought on from the bench to score the penalties. No one ever questions that. It's the same difference. It really is.
West Ham brought on their designated
Noble.
And the irony, David De Gea is also an awful penalty saver.
Exactly.
He saved that one there. He really, really did. We've got a few more super chats here. Kepa Arrizabalaga is Chelsea's greatest keeper of all time. It's said there. Gal is a typical Arsenal fan. He's like a homeless man laughing at someone's average house. I'm not laughing at that. I'm not allowed to laugh. Our team is flying. If we don't even dream, what's the point of being a fan? We told them we won't. They told us we won't finish in the top 4. So, fam, we are gassed.
Just come outside. Just come outside. I'm joking.
Tell him a cash, man.
Quadruple talk for a Liverpool, City, and Chelsea fan is presumptuous. My dyslexic brain read that word. I am so happy with myself, you know. I nearly said that film. I nearly said Prometheus. I nearly said none of their fans have even seen a Champions League double in the same season. This is true, to be fair.
That is true.
Not just my club's seen 2, I think, in the Premier. Not just about numbers. There's a huge difference between Chelsea having 2 Champions Leagues and Arsenal having none. Chelsea having 3 Champions Leagues and Arsenal having 1. Understand that. I kind of agree. Kepa was taking a goal kick with that penalty that ended up at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, is what's been said there. Thank you for that little bit of banter. Now, top 4 race, Gal. We put the poll out. Are Arsenal going to make the top 4? 25% have voted, 100% yes. 37% have said great chance. 16% have said they should. 21% think you will bottle it from this position now. What's happening with the top 4 race? Are Arsenal going to get it? Are you guaranteeing that tonight?
Based on the thumbnail of your last video, top 4 is gone for Manchester United. And Tottenham's top 4 chances have already gone down the drain. So I think Arsenal in the driving seat, and everyone admits that at this point in time. I just want to ask the rest of the panel here, do you guys agree with me? Because I think Arsenal are currently on the best form. In our last 9 games, we've only lost to City. We've drawn against Burnley, and that's it. Since Aubameyang left, we've scored 20 goals in that time. And as I said, we've won 7 of our last 9, only drawing 1. Where you look at Manchester United, in their last 13 games, they've drawn 6. So you just look at it from that perspective. And you look at the form, look at Tottenham's form, Antonio Conte losing his head. And West Ham, I'm not too worried about them because I feel like they're still in Europe and they have more games and it's going to cause them more trouble. I'm actually more worried about Wolves because they are in the same situation as us, where they play 1 game a week. And they look like a really good team defensively, unlike Tottenham and Manchester United. And Arsenal's defense has been the bread and butter of our team this season. And if that can stay healthy and our team can stay healthy, nothing's going to stop us from getting top 4. Only ourselves, only injuries and ourselves. That's it.
What's the points difference?
Right now, we are 1 point behind.
No, come with some new material. I've heard that one before.
No.
We've been saving that one up.
Let me just answer him. Let me answer him. Right now, Arsenal are tied on points with West Ham. We're 6th. West Ham are 5th. They've and Manchester United are 4th with 2 points ahead of us. But West Ham and Manchester United currently have played 27 games, and we played 24 games. So even though we have to win those games, we currently have games in hand, which I don't like.
Who are your 3 games?
I wish we could have played the games, but at the circumstances we're currently in, that's the situation we find ourselves in.
But Man United also have to play Man City, Liverpool, and Tottenham in our next 3
games.
We've Atletico in between, innit?
Yeah. Light work.
I agree with Gal. Arsenal have to be seen as the favourites from this point. I don't agree with some gooners are like 100%. We're definitely going to do it, and that's mate. I don't agree with the opinion. That's just never how I talk about football. I don't like the kind of unequivocal 100% happening thing. Yeah, Cal.
So Gal.
Yeah,
if Arteta doesn't get it from here on in, should he be sacked?
No.
Really?
No.
Why?
Because if we have a plan for the summer and Arteta's the key part of that plan and he's impressed me to this point, I am not of the opinion that you work this hard, you get everybody behind your back, you get everything, and then at the end of the season, just because you lose by 1 point or 2 points, that you sack the manager. You still back the system, you back the situation that's going in, and he's turned my head around completely at this point. I'm not saying I'm fully like trusting everything that he's doing, but I can see the team and everybody backing him. I see the belief in the squad, and I just think if you disturb that by changing the manager at the end of the season just because we don't get it by 1 point or 2 points, then no, you don't sack him. But if we drop out completely out of Europe and we're back at 8th, then you look at sacking him.
But yeah, whether he gets top 4 or not is one or the other. Whether it's a point, whether it's 6 points.
No,
if you're in the driver's seat, if you've got 3 games in hand and only 2 points behind, and as you said, the other, or not even just you, the other clubs are in the mud. If Arteta doesn't do it from here on in, for me, that's a big bottle job. And if that's the case, when you look at his history, he's finished 8th twice. He's in the best situation right now where he's not got any European football, spent more money than any other manager in the summer. You're in pole position for top 4 and then you miss out. Why should he be given another chance? Because if we're going to look at players, Aubameyang is seen to have been a good sell or a good person to release because he wasn't doing the same thing or he wasn't achieving his targets. Why is it different for Arteta when he's had longer?
Listen, this is all I'm going to say. Mikel Arteta at this point has changed a lot of things at the club. And if we were to sack him at the end of the season, it would only be if he finishes outside of the Europa League spots or like 6th and it's a terrible collapse. If it's close at the end and we finish 5th, I honestly think he will still stay on. And at this point, I think they've already started to give him a new contract.
I agree with largely with what Gal said. I think you're right. The only thing I kind of disagree with, I think you didn't allude to, I think if he misses out from this point, because although it would be an overachievement based on what most Arsenal fans and rivals thought Arsenal would achieve, the door is so wide open for you to step into. And this is where I think when you're a club of the stature of all of our clubs on this show, you expect your team to deliver. I think the only thing that changes for Arteta if he misses out from this point is the pressure on him to succeed next year goes through the roof, because you can't keep getting you can't keep getting away with it. Does that make sense? Like, you've had this opportunity, you've nearly done it, you fell away at the last hurdle. I think the pressure will be increased on him next year, which again is always an interesting kind of conundrum for a manager. How do people handle that pressure? How does it change the mood around things? And that he should do it from here, because as you say,
would you sack him? Would you sack him because
no.
As a Manchester United fan, I remember seeing you on streams talking about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and you don't want to restart. So if you see the progress Arsenal have made and this was Manchester United and you're putting yourself in my shoes, would you debunk everything and just throw it out?
So let me ask. Firstly, I spoke on the show today, on my earlier show today, that it's right for them to give him a new deal. The only reason we're talking about sacking him is in this hypothetical situation of him collapsing. I think based on what you've said, you're right. Depends on you lose. How many games you got left? 12, 13. If you lost 8 of them, which you're not going to do, that's a very hyperbolic circumstance. Then maybe you look at sacking him. However, it's about your club. If I know you believe this, that your club has rebuilt properly internally, sacking Arteta or not isn't the be all and end all, because the club's system and process is the most important thing. I wouldn't necessarily just sack him, though, because I do think he's integral for what you're trying to build and move towards. But I do think standards need to be maintained. And if he misses out this time, I think he goes into next season where you have to make the top 4 this year. Otherwise, we are then going to take you out and instill somebody else into that team. So
I think you guys are going to laugh at me.
But I wouldn't throw baby out with the bathwater. No.
I think you guys are going to laugh at me, but listen to this. The reason why I've reevaluated everything and I trust Arteta more is because I've realized the coaching staff that he's brought in and the people and the individual people that he's brought in the unit that they've created now at Arsenal is doing things up to the standard of how the top team should be doing it. And they're kind of like, we have a designated coach for set pieces. We have a designated coach doing this. We have certain things in place. And they've taken those kind of model away from Man City, and he's kind of showing us what they were doing at Manchester City. And we're trying to rebrand the whole club and fix things from the inside. And I feel like he's the intelligence. He's basically the guy who knows how they've been doing it, and he's been showing us things about it. And I just feel like he's brought in some of the stuff that he had in Manchester City.
I don't think that's a bad take. I think that's a fair take. But I've been speaking about this the last few days, and it's maybe a new way of me articulating things. What Arsenal fans need to maintain is the love for your club needs to be more than the love of your players and manager. The way your club is run needs to be more important. So what I see a lot of fans doing nowadays is they're backing managers and players over the way their football club is run. And that's what's wrong. Like, so if Arteta is going backwards, you should be imploring your club to bring somebody in that isn't, That's how the best clubs. So based on your point there about taking the good things from City, if Pep started going backwards, they would sack him. And they just would. At some point, they would. Chelsea do it. Liverpool would do it. If Klopp suddenly was unable to get this team to play to the right standard that they set, they'd move Klopp on. In fact, Klopp would probably walk away himself because of the kind of person that he is. So that's what I would say to Arsenal fans. You guys are moving in the right direction. I think you're not a guarantee for top 4, but you've got a great chance to do it. It's just now, I think the biggest achievement of your season will be handling this expectation and delivering against it, because everybody expects, and also most rivals are sitting there ready and waiting for you to not make it so they can come for you. And you guys know that. And that's because we'd all do that to each other, by the way. Like, all
Arteta,
of that.
We used to compare Arteta to Klopp. I'll compare him to Brendan Rodgers. He's not I don't think right now he's the guy that's going to get us the major honors, but he could be the guy that gets us to a challenging point at one point, maybe.
Where was Arteta compared to Klopp?
No, remember when we compared him? We compared the situation, not the manager.
Okay. Yeah, the only time I ever seen him compared to anybody was Lampard and Ollie, to be fair, but no, as in like manager, not situation. You're right.
Yeah.
Can I say on? Yeah. Listen. Yeah. Arsenal. Listen. Arsenal don't get it from here. It's a failure. You lot had to get knocked out every cup competition to put yourself in the position. You've done it. Well done. Getting knocked out Nottingham Forest. Well done. Knocked out the League Cup. Well done. Now you're in a position to get top 4. You can't now lose that, because what was the point? You might as well try and win the FA Cup. Kepa Aubameyang, who won it for you last time. So, you've done all you can.
Wait. This is where you expose yourself.
Can I just respond to the question? I don't know. So you put yourself in a position to do it. It'll be an abject failure to not go and do it. It will be a surprise. At the start of the season, I didn't expect Arsenal to be up there. But the chips has fallen at your feet. Man United is a disaster. Spurs are a disaster. And your only competition, you're talking about Wolves. That says it all. If you're focused on Wolves, you just beat them twice in 2 weeks. So yeah, this is it's yours to lose. Now, would I sack Arteta if you just miss out? Probably not. It's very similar to when, for example, when Man United lost the Europa League. And even though we got second, people said we need to win a trophy. If we don't win a trophy, Ollie should be sacked regardless. And I said, listen, it's hard for him to come back from that. But I think what he's done up to that point, even though he missed that specific target of winning the trophy, he deserves next season to put it right. Next season became this season, and it fell apart. I would say the same thing. I think Arteta, it will be 2 failures in a row, in different levels of failure, coming 8th, missing out on top 4 from this position. But if he's only just missing out, he deserves next season to right those wrongs. But it means that the microscope is on him. So he doesn't have the whole season to put it right. It might be 3 months, 4 months, by October, November, similar to Solskjaer. By that time, you say, you know what? We gave you 2 chances, 2 seasons, and at both hurdles, you've fallen short. We're going to have to move you on. But I think, yeah, he's done a good job, but he has to complete it. The league title at the end of the season doesn't lie, the league table, and he has to make sure that he's playing Champions League football.
Yes. You're going to go?
Oh, I wasn't gonna go. I just wanted to make sure that in fact, Terry, are we still having this Tuchel Klopp debate because Callum's gonna go and I haven't had a chance to annoy him
yet.
Yeah,
we definitely just do it.
Sorry. I don't see the exact hype over Klopp and Tuchel at the moment. I think Klopp is the better manager. Yeah, fine. But I think it's this. Klopp, Tuchel. I don't think it's this that everyone's trying to portray out to be Igal, who has been trying to portray out to be. I do think it's so much more minimal like here. And I feel like if Chelsea did win that Carabao Cup, it would be here.
Anita, I can go one step further. Look, I can go one step further. I don't think Klopp's the better manager. I think Klopp's achieved more and he's greater, because I think greatness and who's better is a totally different argument, because when you start talking about, because Klopp's a better manager right now than Jose Mourinho, obviously, because Mourinho is not the same guy. I think when we're talking about better manager, if I look now, right now, in the three games we played against Liverpool, I think every single one of those games has literally been as a result of what? Callum, you help me out. Every single game has been as a result of what?
Draws.
Why have you been able to get a point in all those games? Or even a win?
Daniel just destroyed your...
Why so, Ollie's better than Pep then, yeah?
No, come on,
you
man.
see?
I'm not talking about that.
What? Daniel, what do you want?
Daniel, why'd you do that?
No, let Daniel go. Continue, Daniel.
What do you want from me, bro? What do you want from me? Anita just said everything.
Can you let him land?
Feel free. But the turbulence is mad. But go true.
Oh, come on, man. Turbulence is not far from mad. Look, what we're talking about is who's a better manager? Who do we think is the better tactician? Who's the better coach? Whatever. And everything comes. Of course, I'm using the sample size of when we faced up against Klopp. But Tuchel being better than Klopp is just not predicated only on the head-to-heads. Of course, it's not just on the head-to-head. It's what we've seen of them as managers. How have they been able to adapt to certain situations? How have they been able to get results when they might not have been able to get results in situations that they shouldn't have got results? I'm just using that as an example. And Terry, come on, man. You don't be horning when I'm still cooking. It's not even ready yet.
But the food is stale, bro.
No, I'm joking.
I'll book you out.
I'm joking. Come on.
The food's stale, bro.
No. I'm just here to annoy you, to be honest. Klopp deserves massive credit. But I love Tuchel, innit? I think he's coming. He's coming.
All I'm going to say, Tuchel is a sick manager. Rate Tuchel. And when a lot of people were saying Tuchel's a bad appointment for Chelsea, I was saying it wasn't. Fantastic manager. But there's levels. Manny Pacquiao was I know, but that's a level in the everyone.
Yeah, and I hear it. You said levels as in plural. It's just one level, in my opinion. It's just there.
Okay, but Manny Pacquiao was a sick boxer, but then you had Floyd. You've got other sick fighters, but then you got Khabib. Like there's levels to this. So UFC, what I'm basically saying, Anita, is your guy's sick, my guy's just better.
Look, do you know, it's an interesting one for me. Like you go through the different periods. You know, if we go back to 2 to 3 years ago,
I'm gonna have to 8
years.
One manager has been relegated, the other hasn't. Just putting that.
I know, and you're right. But one manager's celebrating today.
Are you telling me they're still hope?
Not already celebrating. We were celebrating in the Champions League.
Anita, I'm gonna send you that Virgil. I'm gonna send you that Virgil picture, hun.
Yes,
Daniel boy. Oi! We were better than you. You said we were better than you. I'm all the way up. See the top people.
Nothing can stop me.
See you later. Just go now. I'm removing him myself. He's done. See you later. I was gonna say, like, you go through these peaks and troughs with managers, because it was a couple of years ago I was talking about Liverpool. They were the best team in the world domestically. What they were doing in Europe, they obviously won the World Club Championship, and I think Tuchel for that period was like amazing. Klopp. I look at Tuchel in this last 12 months. He's been one of the best managers in the world, as an example. That's a different conversation from achieving more. And secondly, I think the greatness bit comes in later. I don't think Tuchel, for instance, and Klopp, even, I know I've said what Klopp's achieved at this moment, like for me and the Wenger thing, but it's kind of hard to judge the greatness of managers that are still, halfway through their careers. And that's something I think you need to wait for, because we just don't know what's around the corner. But Tuchel's going to win more and more major honors. But then what you'll get down to, and this is why I like to that's why I do the whole back-to-back trophies in the Champions League, is my gateway moment. That's just my personal take, because that stops me from rejecting anybody on a nuance later. So what you'll find people will do with Tuchel is they'll say Tuchel ain't done what Klopp's done, but then maybe he wins more than Klopp. And then it'll be, but look at net spend and look at the leagues and look at the time. And then it comes more and more and more fodder. The goalpost. Look, Harry Kane's at it. 1 season wonder, 2 season wonder. Does he do enough against the big teams? Will he do it? He's done it in Europe. Can he do it in semis and finals? I know he scored in a semi-final, but it was a rebound on a penalty, so they don't really count. The goalposts just keep getting moved because nobody wants to set the stall out early and go, this is what he has to achieve for me to rate him. And I feel like people are doing it with Tuchel, where they're simply they're going to keep pushing those goalposts to a point that he can't achieve. You know what I mean? And that's why I don't like about the debate from a lot of people. They won't just set out and say, what does he need to achieve, in your opinion, to be better? Like point blank, no fluff. For me, it's a case of, I'm going to judge it based on the guy who wins more of the bigger trophies, and then within that, who had the best individual seasons. Who done doubles, who won Premier Leagues and Champions Leagues in the same year, who did.
And they're kind of tied, aren't they?
Yeah, they're very close right now. Very close right now.
Yeah, they're actually tied. On trophies, it's 10-10 at the moment.
For me, when it comes to Tuchel and Klopp, and I think Klopp is better, by the way, but and I don't think it's that close either. I do think Klopp is, from where people talk about Klopp potentially. I don't agree with this, by the way, but being better than Pep Guardiola, I don't agree with that. But Tuchel doesn't come into that debate. Yeah, I would never even entertain a debate about Tuchel being better than Klopp. I'm better than Pep. Whilst I'll be willing to debate and debunk Klopp being better than Pep. I think Pep is better, but for me, I think Callum's right. I think there are levels. Maybe there's two levels.
Wait. But what are your reasons?
I'll tell you why.
For the Pep and Klopp thing, what are your reasons? Let me
tell you why.
Is it because Klopp built teams? He built
let me explain why. Shout out to my guy Have Hope. He said he calls it DOD, degree of difficulty. DOD, D-I-E. Don't worry about Have Hope. He does his thing. He's a weird guy. But DOD, degree of difficulty. Uh-huh. So even if they're level on trophies, if they might be, I have no idea, but level on trophies. And if you want to, even if you take the weighting out of it, if we talk about the nuance about how those trophies are actually acquired.
You flopped, Nick, by the way. I'm letting you know you flopped, but with what you're about to say.
No,
maybe I have. I'm not, but this is my argument. If you want to debunk it, cool. He went and built a Dortmund team to go and take over and surpass Bayern Munich, 2 league titles in a row, got to the Champions League final, lost that. He then went to Liverpool and built a team that were Europa League fodder, sometimes outside the Europa League, not really win anything. And he's built them to challenge, which is probably the second best Premier League side of all time, just in terms of the 1992 in terms of Man City. Someone's going to argue at some point maybe the best as individual seasons. But that's what Klopp has been able to do. On a budget compared to the actual rival and the resources compared to that rival, that individual rival, that Tuchel hasn't had to contend with. Tuchel took over Klopp's Dortmund, I believe. That's correct? Yeah?
He took over Mainz and Dortmund.
Okay. He took over PSG.
Yep.
Who obviously we know are the top dogs in Ligue 1. So that's a given in terms of winning domestically. Got to a Champions League final, which of course they should have been getting to before, but he was the one to get them there. But again, the resources they have compared to most clubs in Europe is far and away much greater. Then he comes to Chelsea, who again have great resources, not more than Man City, but more than Liverpool, who have a team that most people said at the beginning of the season with Lampard was saying, well, definite top 4. This team should be challenging. A lot of people said this team should be challenging. We bought Werner, Kai Havertz, this, that, whatever. And of course, he had a big achievement to win the Champions League, but he didn't build that team. That team was with good quality players from back to front. So when I said degree of difficulty to build that team,
you know what?
Tuchel hasn't done that.
I feel like degree of difficulty is so subjective. It's unreal. I can tell you, Thomas Tuchel walking into a PSG team that's used to winning, that has all the biggest names in the world at the moment, just bought Neymar, buying Mbappe. You have all these big players as well, and that in itself is difficult. Bearing in mind, he didn't win the German championship. He didn't win the German championship at all. He didn't win it with Mainz. He didn't win it with Dortmund. But he goes into that dressing room, lets them all know that the big names don't matter to him. You perform. If you perform, then you perform. If you don't perform, then you get dropped. And he dropped big names. He's done that, you know. Then he comes to Chelsea, and everyone's gonna say, yes, this Chelsea team should have got top 4 anyway. However, they didn't, and they were performing in 9th place, right? So when Tuchel took over, we were 9th. And I feel like one thing that's really difficult that Tuchel and Klopp does, is that they build up their team to have this winning mentality. But when you have a group of players who are currently playing at 9th after having some of their best seasons, currently playing at 9th, building up that mentality again to try and get them to 4th, then win the Champions League, then win the Super Cup, that's hard, bearing in mind that most of them were youngsters as well. So I feel like degree of difficulty there is a little bit subjective. And so just
no, go on. Sorry, I'm sorry.
And just on top of that, I just feel like Thomas Tuchel, what he's done for Chelsea is a bit underrated as well. I get that Klopp building a whole team from scratch. That's phenomenal. I feel like not many managers can do that, but also not many managers could have come into that Chelsea side and taken the whole formation, taken all the starting players, mixed it all up and said, we're playing free at the back, Mason Mount, you drop to the bench. Not a lot of managers can come and do that. And
so can I just say quickly, Daniel, just before you come in, just on the basis of Chelsea, I do, again, yeah, it is subjective. So you have a back and forth and maybe we'll never agree, and it is what it is. That's what debate is. But there's examples of at Chelsea of that kind of thing happening already, where the team is, and of course the teams have been more senior in the past, but the quality of the players are there, and maybe they down tools or weren't performing, whatever it was for the previous manager. The new manager comes in, it's like, oh, Antonio Conte took us from 10th last season to win the league. Yeah, because you were never a 10th place team. You were performing very badly. You know, Avram Grant came in and got you to a Champions League final. He's not a good manager. Di Matteo came in and won the Champions League and the FA Cup. But so it's like when the players are there,
but
it's easier to win when the players aren't there.
I do get that. I do get that. I do get that, and I understand. Like again, I still put Klopp above Tuchel right now.
Yeah.
But the subjectivity thing is there. I'm seeing people in the comments that had a go at me for saying there's always been a top 4 leagues, and there isn't a top 4 league now. It's top 5. At the same time, they're going, how can you count Tuchel's trophies in France? And this is what I mean by the nature of it. It's either the French trophies mean something, or they mean, or when you're debating the best of the best, or they mean nothing they mean nothing, or they're a side dish. As an example, I like people to be fair on that. But the Liverpool conversation is interesting because they nearly won the league title with Brendan Rodgers. I swear the following season they finished top 4.
No, the following season 8th. I think
they finished 4th. They finished top 6. Either 4th or 6th, one of the two. But they were in Europe.
He got sacked and they finished 8th.
Yeah, hang on. So let me just get this up, because what my point is though is they nearly won a league title, okay, and then it was a year and a bit later that he got sacked, right? So in the 20, I'm checking
a few months.
2014-15 season where they come. Oh yeah, they came 6th, as an example. So there was that massive drop. I almost feel like he got sacked because of the back end of that started the season poorly. But again, that was a team. I know they lost Suarez, but that was a team that almost won the Premier League as an example. It wasn't, for me, they weren't a crap team. Does that make sense? Like, and I still sometimes feel like with Liverpool fans, with Jurgen Klopp, it's this notion of they talk that team they spoke about back then with those players. They raved about loads of them. Now they speak about it like it had all but one good player in it. And I do think
Terry, it was a bad team. It wasn't a good team.
I don't think it was that bad a team.
It wasn't a good. Remember, I can't remember like when did Sterling leave? Sterling didn't play on the Klopp, did he? He left the summer before.
I think Sterling played a season on the Klopp, didn't he? No,
he left the year before.
He left in the summer just before Klopp came in October. So Suarez had left. Obviously, Gerrard was a year and a half older. I think he maybe played 1 year under Klopp, maybe. I can't remember now. I'm trying to remember. And who was the rest of their players? They had
guys like Adam Lallana. And Lallana was someone who they were like.
The reason I say this, we're looking back now, 7 years later. Do you know what's going to happen when we look back at some of these Chelsea players right now that we all raised? Exactly. We will look back in 7 years and go, "Do you remember how bad Werner was? Do you remember we all thought so and so was going to be amazing?" When you look back 7 years later and you realize, especially as Liverpool fans, now they've gone up to another level. They look back and a lot of their prior teams look. They're not of that same standard, but they weren't, for me, they weren't dog shit. They weren't this awful team that couldn't compete because they had done for many, many years. What had happened is Brendan Rodgers just ran out of ideas at that football club and it crumbled. And I know Jurgen Klopp slowly built a squad up and made them better over time. And it took him a little bit of time. That first year, they got to finals his first season still. And that's partly because of Klopp, but partly because he had some good players. They just had to add that stardust to it. And I understand completely that the rebuild Klopp has done is different to that of Thomas Tuchel's. But at the same time, I think it's overplayed at times. And we disrespect managers like Pep. and we disrespect managers like what Tuchel's trying to do, where they go to clubs that have more resources, the pressure at those clubs, you could win the Premier League and Champions League one season and be sacked the next at Chelsea or at Man City if you don't perform. The pressure that comes with that is, again, different. And when we spoke about how you handle those things, I still put Klopp in front of him, but I don't believe there is this big gulf like some people try to make out. I think that's disrespectful to Thomas Tuchel.
Terry, that Liverpool team in 14-15 lost 6-1 to Stoke, and you're telling me they weren't trash?
I'm telling you, but hang on a minute. Look how good. And this is different levels, but I'm looking at Brendan Rodgers as part of this. That Brendan Rodgers team. Look at Leicester and how good they've been for the last 2 or 3 years, and then look at them this year. If you looked at Leicester this season, you'd go, that manager's awful. But we were raving about him for 2 or 3 years. He was tipped with big jobs at big clubs. He just come to the end of his life cycle. He ran out of ideas, and that team was struggling. They were so much better when Klopp came in. And yes, they had to add better players to that system. There's no doubt. And I'm not undoing anything Jurgen Klopp has achieved. But let's not talk about it like Jurgen Klopp took over Crystal Palace and turned them into European champions. They're a rich club with a rich vein of success, and that's all I'm saying. It's they didn't take over Crystal Palace or West Ham.
Okay, go 1 sec. That's what I wanted to reiterate, and you literally just said the point I was gonna make. That's why I just don't really like that degree of difficulty thing, because then what are we saying? Because Man City have the most money and the most limitless of resources. Pep always gets slack for managing Barcelona after they had just recently won a Champions League, then going to manage Bayern Munich, and then going to manage Man City. Like, he gets slack for that. And what is that? I
agree. I have to reconsider how great Pep Guardiola is based on the lavish lifestyle he's been living.
And if people that are playing down what Tuchel's doing versus Klopp because of those reasons, then you can't be putting Pep into a conversation with Fergie.
And I don't. That's what for me. Pep has to win. He has to win the Champions League with Man City for me to even have that conversation. But even if he wins one with Man City after how many years he's been there, I'm still like, you should have won that ages ago. Like, you really had to wait for Messi and Ronaldo to be the worst players in the world for you to win. The only two that you won was with peak Messi. Like, I'm willing to have that debate. This doesn't just apply to Tuchel. This is why I put Mourinho above Pep. They've got 2 Champions Leagues each. Pep could win another Champions League with Man City. He's won more league titles, whatever. But the degree of difficulty of what Mourinho had to do at Porto, at Inter, and even coming into the Premier League against invincible Arsenal and Sir Alex Ferguson to win back-to-back league titles, coming back to the Premier League and winning it. Meanwhile, running Pep Guardiola out of La Liga. For me, degree of difficulty has to come into it. I can't just look at pure numbers.
By the way, I agree. I agree, Nick. I agree with degree of difficulty. And as a lot of people are saying here, Terry says, Terry, the Rodgers team conceded nearly 60 goals. Suarez and Sterling carried the team, and they lost him, etc. Klopp had a big job. I know Klopp had a big job. My point is, though, the way it's starting to be revised is like he took over a minnow, like he took over a team that weren't expected to win. You still were good, but Brendan Rodgers was the reason that you were conceding so many of those goals in exactly the same way. Look at Leicester right now for a case in point of how it crumbled towards the end of Brendan Rodgers' time. Leicester haven't become a massively worse team because the players aren't very good. It's because of Brendan Rodgers, in my opinion. And again, Liverpool fans, please listen to what I'm saying. I am not slagging. I know what you want to hear is nothing but universal, unyielding praise. What Klopp has done at your football club is sensational. Sensational. But I don't think, because his rebuild is harder than what the building element that Tuchel's got to do, that it completely disregards Tuchel from being in the Klopp conversation ever. That's the point that I'm making.
That's not true. Yeah.
That's the point. That's all I'm saying.
Let me just say this though. Everybody here, I think, said in some form or another they acknowledge that currently Klopp has achieved slightly more than Tuchel, right? That is what everyone pretty much has said. But we are now having the conversation looking back over Klopp, the team that he took over at Liverpool, to discredit Klopp now. I don't get that.
Well, it's not even like we're trying to discredit Klopp. What we're trying to say is that the gap is not as big as some Liverpool fans are trying to make it out to be. And I totally stand with that, because you cannot sit here, discredit the things Tuchel's done for Chelsea and also big up what Klopp's been doing for Liverpool. Like, just because we didn't have the Liverpool team, and I think what Klopp rebuilding that Liverpool side was good. I feel like what he did was great, but at the end of the day, it was a rebuild. Like, he got in his own players. These are not Thomas Tuchel's players. Thomas Tuchel was not given that same privilege, but he still managed to take a team that was 9th in the Premier League in 6 months, bring them to 4th, and make them Champions League winners. Is that not a degree of difficulty?
There is 100%. But this is my only challenge, and I'll tell you guys in 3 points. One, he went out, got his own players, and reformatted that 11 that he started with to the end. Okay.
Yeah,
Number two, he took a team that was the banter club at one point and hasn't won a Premier League in a long time. And you guys have to acknowledge Liverpool were so low before Klopp came and won them that Premier League. Like, let's be honest. Before he won them that Champions League.
Wait, hold on.
1 second. Before you guys, I've been listening carefully and sitting back, relaxing. Daniel, Anita has absolutely put things in a completely different situation. Daniel, you're actually trying to say Klopp and Tuchel's above him. Basically, right now, you're saying he's better right now. You're saying he's better right now. If you want to talk about better, that's a completely different thing. But why are we talking about the past? Why are we talking about discrediting people? If you want to talk about who's better, let's talk about who's better. Thomas Tuchel has been able to make players better. Thomas Tuchel has been able to make your Chelsea team perform to a level that is really good. I am not discrediting him at all, but I'm just saying Klopp has been able to take nobodies that nobody knew, bring them into his club, reformat them.
Stop that. Stop.
Let me mention some. Let me mention some.
Hold on.
No. You can't just get angry. You're triggered for no reason. Listen to what I'm saying. Who was Andre Robertson? Who was Robertson before he came into Liverpool?
How can you lie? Stop lying about
was Robertson somebody? Was Robertson a somebody?
Are you not mentioning?
Was Robertson a somebody? Why am I lying?
Was Reece James a somebody? Was Reece James a somebody? Now he's
wasn't brought in by Tuchel.
Now he's the Champions League winner.
Reece James wasn't brought in by Tuchel.
Tuchel has developed him into a world-class player.
Clearly, I can't have a serious conversation with you guys because you guys clearly just see the club that I associate myself with instead of an actual conversation.
If you really want to lay it
down.
No,
Daniel, you're triggered for no reason. It is a cast-iron fact what I said.
If you really want to lay it down, it's about what you think is more difficult. Someone coming in fresh to a team that wasn't performing, that was playing in life. But
I gave him credit.
Listen, that they were supposed to, and he won the Champions League in his first year there, or someone who was able to build a team up and spent all that time with that team, nurturing that team. Now it's become his team. He's able to build it up and he's now won the Champions League. If you look at it, yes, fair enough. In terms of building up a team and whatnot, that might be seen as the bigger achievement. But in terms of degree of difficulty as to when they won their Champions Leagues, Tuchel's is definitely harder.
Because Daniel, when I mentioned degree of difficulty, I didn't. I
agree. I'm not.
I just spoke about Dortmund. I just spoke about Dortmund and what he did with Dortmund. To win a league against Bayern Munich, is harder.
That's for me. That's for the reason. That's the reason. The Dortmund achievement is the reason that is the biggest reason. I agree with Neeks that I put Klopp above him. It's the back-to-backs. Back-to-back league title wins is something that's so hard to do, especially in that league. Interestingly, though, to the Liverpool fans that are speaking about where you took over from. So Liverpool in the 2014-15 season, the last full season before Klopp came in, they conceded 48 goals, not 60. I just went and checked. When Tuchel came into Chelsea, that Chelsea team had conceded 23 goals in 19 games. So they were tracking towards conceding 46 goals that season, that Chelsea team. So that Chelsea team were leaking goals at the same level in and around as that Liverpool team. And put it into context, back in 2015, the champions with the best defensive record in the league that year were Chelsea. They conceded 32 goals. So very, very leaky across the board that year. Like Spurs, who finished above Liverpool, conceded 53 goals. Can't believe it. I'm not saying that Liverpool team was amazing in 2015. But again, they weren't Stoke, they weren't Swansea, they weren't West Brom or Sunderland. And I think sometimes that needs to be your Liverpool football club. Yes.
You let Daniel get away with murder here. Even Anita, you should challenge. You should challenge. You should challenge.
Hang on. You're here. You challenge.
Okay, guys. He said Thomas Tuchel is currently better.
I didn't. I said it was a joke.
He said he's currently better than Klopp. Explain to us. No, Daniel.
I said it was a joke.
Listen to me.
Because you're saying I said it was factual when I said it was a joke. Okay. And everyone heard about.
Oh, so you're joking now?
I said it was a joke. How many times? You didn't want to listen.
He said it.
Now you can shut up. Okay, so Terry, next segment, please, because this guy's just waffling.
No, Daniel, you're triggered. You're triggered, mate. You're triggered.
And
you didn't even let me mention Lewandowski.
You didn't even let me mention these guys because he clearly doesn't listen.
It's fine. It's tribalistic. You clearly just want to back your manager. There's nothing wrong with that. But you have no actual arguments.
There's a comment here that says Terry the Tuchel fanboy, but I said Klopp's better. This is what I say all the time. Unless you can.
This is the girl's boy. They don't listen.
Keep crying, Daniel. Keep crying. It's okay. Don't hate me. Don't worry. Keep hating. It's okay.
That Liverpool team overachieved, Chelsea underachieved. We had a super chat here that said this. Ask yourselves this question. Did Tuchel inherit a much better squad, title-winning side potential than Klopp when he took over Liverpool? The answer is yes. Then what is the point of debating the degree of difficulty? So again, Neil, I did take over a better team, but my kind of point around it all is I don't think that one element is like enough to create this massive gulf. If somebody said, like, if we did it on levels of 1 being the best, 10 being the worst, and somebody said Klopp's a 2 and Tuchel is a 3, I'm like, cool. It's when I hear people talk about it like one's up here and one's down there because of these reasons. I don't think those reasons create this great massive gulf that people are making out. That's my only point, Neil. And I'm not discrediting Klopp. What he did's amazing. I've said that. I don't know how many times I have to repeat it until it sinks into people. He did a brilliant job. Deborah here says Jurgen Klopp is miles above the others you've mentioned. So again, miles above. Liverpool forever. And who do you think you are? Bad mouthing Lionel Messi. All right, CR7 is your boy. I mentioned Messi on the show.
No, I said, I praised Messi because I downplayed Pep's achievement to say that he won it with Messi. So I'm actually saying that Pep didn't have to do anything because Messi won it for him. So yeah, thanks for the super chat, Deborah.
There we go. There are a few more that came in here. Nick, you're a football man. I love you for that. I don't know who Nick is. Nick might be in the comments. But with Tuchel, let him get his players and team together. Tuchel would cook in the Premier League. Oh, Neeks. He might mean Neeks there. Yeah, absolutely.
He would never disagree with me. No.
Yeah.
Nick, wherever you are, listen to Walter.
Ollie could win League R with PSG. I don't know about that, to be honest. I don't know. I'm not endorsing that message. This is an interesting question. How many years would it take Tuchel to win the Premier League and Champions League if he took over Leicester tomorrow? I mean,
so are they comparing Leicester to the Liverpool team?
And this is my point. This is my point here. I respect the super chat, but taking over Leicester isn't like taking over Liverpool Football Club. Even because it just isn't, my bro. It isn't. Mignolet, Klein, Enrique, Traore,
revisionism,
Gomez, Saka, Moreno, Skirtle, Milner, Coutinho.
Sorry, can I have this one, please?
Yeah, go on, mate.
When Moreno came into Liverpool, and it was during that period, he was one of the best left backs in Europe, one of the most sought after left backs in Europe, and Liverpool managed to get him. Lovren was one of the top, like, you know, when you buy a centre back who needs to take the next level in the Premier League, Lovren was one of those players. Skirtle, of course, Vet, Milner at a better time. They bought Milner from Man City.
He's still there now. So he was obviously good then.
We obviously know what Coutinho was on. Lallana before his injuries was quality. I hate the revisionism.
Okay, but Daniel.
One sec. I hate the revisionism Liverpool fans do on Lucas Leiva. Lucas Leiva was one of the...
Yeah, he was a baller. He was
a baller. But they revised that. Origi as well just came off that great World Cup.
Did you mention Emre Can? Emre Can was a...
Let me just say something to Daniel, guys. Daniel, you got triggered. You got triggered off the fact that I said Klopp has made stars. No. Let me speak, bro. I let you speak this whole time. Calm down, please. Calm down. When I finish, you can rebuttal. Daniel, you said after I said Klopp has made nobodies, you jumped in, were angry. So tell me why Klopp has not made nobodies. He's made people stars. He's made players that people were not brand names, not big names, and he's made them stars. That is a cast iron fact. So you tell me why I'm wrong.
Cool. once again, I didn't say that Klopp. I said what I rebutted and what I said you shouldn't say is Klopp won the Champions League with nobodies. And then you went to mention Robertson. Did anyone know Robertson? I didn't say Klopp hasn't made any stars. No one, I haven't disputed that.
You didn't even let me finish
said
my sentence.
nobody. Klopp won his Champions League after spending how much amount of money? Meeks has got the facts. Klopp won his Champions League after buying and established players to come into that team and win the Champions League. Did he not?
Yeah.
Of course you buy players.
I'm not disputing that, but you said he won the Champions League with nobody.
No, I did not say that.
Yes, you did. Does Klopp win the Champions League?
Replay the tape.
One sec. Does Klopp win the Champions League without buying Alisson, Van Dijk, and who was the third player they bought? Naby Keita. Fair enough, he might not count. But
Fabinho.
Does Klopp win the Champions League without Fabinho, Alisson, and Van Dijk?
Nope.
Of course, but you still not answered the question.
Thank you very much.
No, you still don't. You still haven't answered anything.
That's
like saying the sky is blue and saying thank you very much. What are you talking about?
What's the question?
The question is simple. I said to you, Klopp has made nobodies into stars, and you are now saying you jumped in rebuttal and getting angry about that, like it's as if I was destroying I'm just bringing up the point that Klopp has been able to make guys like Robertson, bring academy players up, pick up Lewandowski and make him a superstar, stuff like that. Where Thomas Tuchel has been majority of his teams, he's been given players and he's been given stars, and he hasn't really had to do that.
That's not true. He made Aubameyang one of the best strikers in Europe.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. If you want to do that, fair.
They did buy him.
No, that's a fair point. That's a fair point. That's a fair point. That's a good example.
Did he develop?
You could have rebutted with something like that.
Did he develop Dembele? Did he develop Dembele as well?
Yeah.
Wait, which one? Who?
That was one season.
Dembele's best
season. After one season, how much did Barcelona?
That was one season.
Usman Dembele.
Stop jumping at me. I will give him credit. But when I ask a question, don't come back with some nuance that had nothing to do with the question.
But the first question, you know what? It's fine. You know what? It's fine.
Let's do some more super chats. Yeah, it's good to see Anita back. Matisse and Anita are my favorite Chelsea fans. I need to see Tuchel in 5 years, then I will compare. Both are amazing, but I think he will surpass Klopp in terms of trophies. Big up is what Bash says. None of those Chelsea managers had such a young team. We needed the Champions League final with three 22-year-olds in attack. Compare that to Liverpool and City's teams of age and experience, is what Josh says. And do you know what's interesting about this conversation is that's the thing about nuance. Some people will weigh that the youthful team that Tuchel took to a final and go, yeah, but Liverpool's was older across the board. Everyone's going to have a different thing that makes their manager's achievement special, which is why when you're at an elite club that's rich, like all our clubs, you judge it on who's won the most trophies, because that way you take all the nuance out and go trophies. You go.
Daniel, the reason I made my face, Daniel, I was trying to see what age Timo Werner was.
No, he's young,
No, but I know he's not 20. I know he's not 22, but I was thinking
he's
the only
25.
reason you end the Champions League final with 3 22-year-olds is because Timo Werner's crap. That's why.
There we
go. Klopp signed Aubameyang, and he was actually under Klopp.
No.
He started his career at Dortmund.
Can I just say that Klopp started at Dortmund?
Was the one who made.
Wait. Klopp started his career at Dortmund because I had to write an article on this. So you see, this is where you shot yourself. Klopp's top players signed him at Dortmund. However, everybody knows that Aubameyang became the fearful striker that he is because of Tuchel's development. And even Aubameyang will tell you that himself. That's why their relationship is like this. They're literally
no, Anita, I'll start this off by saying, yes, I give you, he has improved players. But when it comes to when we're looking at better right now, Daniel said he's better right now in a joking manner. You said that. Even Daniel, if you just speak for me then. Go ahead.
It doesn't. No, but please, am I going mad? Please tell me if I'm going mad and I'll shut up. How are you making a point based on a joke? So if I now said,
okay, so everything I say sometimes is a joke. So don't take me serious then.
If I said Brendan Rodgers is great, no, but I clarified and Anita, I allow you with a banter and carry. Anita made a joke first. I made a joke after saying that Tuchel's better. And then literally now you're making a fact. You want to make a real debate off of a joke. I don't understand. How?
Okay.
Shouldn't have said it, mate. Shouldn't have said it if you couldn't back up. No jokes allowed.
No
It's
jokes
okay.
on the terrace,
It's
innit?
okay. It's okay. If I mention another point, Daniel's gonna cut me off. So let's continue.
No, mention
cried.
in the
You
chat.
cried.
Can we talk about?
You've been crying all show, Daniel. It's funny.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
saying cry.
Daniel lost yesterday, innit? He ain't over it
Yeah,
yet.
yeah, exactly.
No, he ain't over it.
He's still hurt.
For
And he's just taking it better. He's smiling.
For Tuchel to be on par with Klopp, I would like to see him win a title going into the season as a second favourite, like Klopp did back to back with Dortmund, and then again with Liverpool. I suppose if you win a league title in the Pep era, then you've done that, right? That would kind of would people agree? Yeah, and they can do a spec limited. At least you're setting a goal. At least you're setting a target. What I feel with a lot of people is the goalposts and can continue to move, and every nuance will come out. And like, I don't care which of them is better, as long as they don't ever get rated higher than Fergie. I don't care. Do you know what I mean? They're definitely better than Ollie. They're definitely better than Ollie, is what I'm going to say.
But
you
got another super chat because I want to mention something Neek said about Aubameyang and Arsenal, and it pissed me off.
Is that a pen in your hand? You're taking notes on my comment.
He's taking notes.
What a guy! What a guy!
He's serious, dog.
Nah, first things first. He mentioned Aubameyang, and he said that could affect Arsenal's top 4 hopes. And also, when you spoke about that,
you know, that was like an hour ago.
Yeah. Because I was patiently waiting, unlike Daniel, to cut people off, right?
Oh yeah.
So, first things first. When you spoke about Aubameyang, that was a false premise because Aubameyang scores as many goals as he wants for Barcelona. It doesn't affect Arsenal this season, and he wasn't doing it for us. Okay, Arteta and him had a falling out. So when it comes to this situation, you cannot say Aubameyang scoring goals for Barcelona shows that Arteta should have kept him. No. At Arsenal, when we were playing with Aubameyang, he was missing his chances. He was not finishing his dinner. He was performing terribly. And in my opinion, his head was gone. So the fact that he's now gotten a new environment, it's helped him and it's made him a better player in the short term, and it's brought him back his form. We'll see how it works in the long run. But at this moment in time, he scored 4 goals for Barcelona. He scored 4 goals in the league for Arsenal. Now,
cool, let me respond to that. No, let me respond to that.
You will respond. You will respond when I'm done.
You will
respond when I'm done. No.
Forget. I don't have a pen.
Respond when I'm done. I'll be quick. I will be quick.
Or you can use your memory,
Neeks. You're making it longer than it is, Neeks. This is the next point. It's ironic that we're talking about Arsenal's top 4 hopes and not once have the 2 Manchester United. No, not Terry. But Neeks, you haven't brought up Manchester United. So I want to ask you what you think about your top 4 hopes and where do you stand with your top 4 hopes? Because I kind of understand where Terry is, but that's the second part. So these are both directed at you. When I'm done, now you can respond.
I forgot the first one. What was it? I'm joking. Firstly, the Aubameyang one.
You can't make jokes.
Thanks, Terry. Yes. On the first one, I mean, you completely misunderstood what I was saying. Because I didn't mention what Aubameyang was doing at Barcelona. I wasn't talking about what he's doing now. The only point I made was, I said you lot got knocked out of all the cups. You got rid of all the bad eggs, including Aubameyang, to basically free yourselves to fight for the top 4. So basically, you got rid of all the obstacles that could potentially prevent you from getting top 4 by getting knocked out to Nottingham Forest, getting knocked out to Liverpool, having Aubameyang, the bad egg around the dressing room. You got rid of all of that, and now you're focused on top 4. Therefore, you must get it. Because if you don't, then you might as well have stayed in all the competition and kept Aubameyang. What was the point of it? That was the point I made. I wasn't talking about what he had done at Barca and whether he should have kept him. That's the first thing. Secondly, what was the second one? See, I needed a pen, man. What was the second one? Man United's top 4. No, but that is within my. I said Arsenal are favourites and should get it. It's implicit, therefore, that Man United will not get top 4. I don't think I needed to mention that Manchester United won't get it once I say that Arsenal will get it, because I expect the top 3 to remain where it is, and there's only one place to fight for. If you wanted me to speak about Man United directly, yeah, we are terrible. The fact that we're even in a debate about top 4 is the disgrace. So even if we get top 4 in the end, because you lot flopped, that is embarrassing. Because with the team that we started the season with, which isn't even as good now after the January transfer window, but the squad that we started the season with, we should have been, as a minimum, in Chelsea's position, as a bare minimum in terms of distance from the top of the table, obviously in the Champions League, And, at least in one of the cups, Chelsea lost the final, but at least in one of the domestic cups. And we're not. But once I said that Arsenal are getting top 4, it implies that Man United are not getting it. But I hope that answers your question to a full amount.
Good job. By the way, just on the Gal taking notes, I take notes as well, to be fair, so it's all good. Someone had a go at me because I giggled when they mentioned it. Some people are very sensitive. Some Arsenal fans especially are very sensitive at the minute. It's mad. This is an interesting one. I want to see if Gal agree. Gal, do you agree with this? Klopp said that you should judge a manager by how they leave a club. Ask Dortmund fans if they would have either Tuchel or Klopp back. Who would they choose? Do you agree with that notion, Gal? That's how you should judge a manager by how they leave a club.
No, that's to everyone's opinion. I don't agree. I think you judge a manager. You judge a manager based on their full body of work, in my opinion.
And I agree. And do you know what? That's what I mean, though, about these debates. Everyone will have a different nuance. Like Liverpool fans will cling to that because Klopp's left these, he didn't leave him in a great league position. I think they were down near the bottom. Did they leave in top 4 for the time he left? They may have, because he fought back that season.
I think in Europe, not in top 4, but
they climbed back up. I remember. But yeah, interesting take. Question for Daniel and Anita: do you think Thomas Tuchel would get more credit if his teams played a more expansive game?
What do you mean more expansive game? Okay. I feel like there's a fallacy that Thomas Tuchel doesn't play expansive football. He does.
They call him Tuchel.
But doesn't he? Obviously, correct me if I'm wrong. I think he has a record in Dortmund for having the most goals scored in a Dortmund season. Like he plays expansive football. There's just a fallacy that he doesn't, because he's had to do this Tuchel, that quote unquote, with Chelsea. I think he plays more expansive football, but I do think English fans would respect him more if he played like a Pep Guardiola with Chelsea, or if he played like Jurgen Klopp with Chelsea, But unfortunately, Chelsea just don't have the facilities, bro. Like we don't have the facilities to play that kind of football.
There's only one way to play football anyway. If you don't play like Pep, if you don't play like Klopp.
Hey,
here's another little bit of nuance. It says people that say Tuchel didn't win anything in the Bundesliga. He said Dortmund finished 7th and 30 points off the title in Klopp's final season. Tuchel took over that team after losing a certain striker called Lewandowski as well. This is the thing. If you look for it, there's so much of that. It is really true. It is true. On that logic, Klopp nearly left them relegated.
Yeah, they're just
again, I say, and I'm not having a pop at Klopp. It's you can keep digging, and that's why I say just do it on the trophies and keep it easy and the records. Great show, everyone. And Terry, I know you rate Klopp. Just wanted to point out that Liverpool was an average side when Klopp took over, when Tuchel compared to Tuchel at Chelsea.
I'm just gonna add to that. Anita, don't even bother yourself, because just like with certain arguments, like with Pep can never, no matter what he does, he can never eclipse Sir Alex Ferguson, because every team he's walked into has been.
Why did Neeks lick his lips when you said that?
That reminded me of a
Neeks
conversation.
had dry lips on YouTube, and now I've been accused.
No, but Terry,
Neeks
do you agree with what he just said?
One sec, bro. Neeks licking his lips. Neeks licking his lips reminds me of a conversation about Van Dijk earlier on in the group chat, to be fair.
Me, guys.
Yeah, no, Neeks didn't lick his lips at Van Dijk, I can assure you. Yes, he did, mate.
He basically just did what you thought I did yesterday, where I said never eclipse or never surpass. So what is he going to have to do to surpass him, Daniel?
So let me just jump in quickly. I never said you didn't say he could surpass him. I asked you what he had to do to surpass him.
No. Okay, thank you for correcting me, Terry. I understand that now.
Being corrected a lot this show.
Daniel, though, you just said Sir Alex Ferguson could never surpass Pep. So
based off of the comment, please use the whole context, please. Based off of that comment where Klopp came in and made the team better, and Tuchel came into a tailor-made team. All of Pep's teams,
and it is true. So if you do history of the Premier League, Man United have always had money, facts. But
the team that Alex walked into,
Blackburn, the team he walked into was in a dire straits and they had to build it up. But Blackburn, when they got their money, when they won the league, were richer. You then had Chelsea that were richer. And by the way, when Fergie took on and beat in the early stages Chelsea and City, FFP didn't exist. So those teams could spend whatever the hell they wanted. So again, this is why I say to people, be careful with the logic you throw out now to win one argument, because you just goat Fergie forever. based on that logic. That isn't my logic, but Daniel's right. If Tuchel can't be caught, can never catch Klopp based on that logic, Pep can never catch Fergie. And I maybe I'm just going to switch my logic to that as well, and just fight Fergie's fight forever. No Neeks, remember our fan base said the squad with a better manager will walk the top 4. Now they flip-flop, by the way. We do miss out. We're going to blame Ollie. In fairness, I still stand by this squad being good enough for top 4. I do blame it on Ollie.
100%.
Yeah.
But I don't blame Ollie. I don't blame Ollie. No, sorry. I blame the players.
The owners. I blame the owners.
Oh,
I would blame the owners.
Always blame the owners.
How about this? Right now, where do you rank the next best manager and one of the next best managers in the league in Conte next to Tuchel?
What, Conte?
No,
because remember, Conte just won the league with Inter. I know he's
very close. I don't have it. I think Conte's European record is a bit higher. And it should be much better based on the teams that he's managed and what they've done domestically.
Conte's like the managerial version of Arsenal, domestic powerhouse.
Yeah.
European also run. Do you know what I mean? Like, and that's not a dig. It's
just facts. It's literally the facts.
Igal, absolute pleasure having you on tonight, mate. Thank you.
It wasn't.
Anita, thank you very much as always. Daniel and Anita, commiserations for yesterday. Neeks, well, just commiserations to both of us forever, really. We're absolutely in the
commiserations every day.
To all the viewers, whether you disagree with everything that was said or not, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for smashing that like button before you leave as well. To all the super chatters, I appreciate you greatly. Take care. Goodbye.